You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
Hold your smile.
We're back. Laura Padgett is our guest, longest-serving member of Wilmington City Council, a national board member of the National League of Cities, NLC, right? Relative to that meeting that you went to for the National League, let's talk about crime. We've heard some conflicting crime stats for Wilmington. It's conflicting to me. Murder way down, but serious crime jumped 13%. First of all, what's your take on that?
My first take on it is that the economy causes that type of crime to increase. Because, number one, families are under duress. People are without the means they used to have, and some turn to crime that would not normally. So I think if you look back over history, anytime you see the economy being way down, unemployment being way high, you're going to see higher crime statistics.
Was there any discussion about crime at the National League of Cities meeting?
Well, this last weekend.
Where was that?
That was in Washington.
Okay.
And that was kind of an overview, meet the staff and your fellow board members and
that was
decide
the board meeting?
Yes, it was, on particular issues. But crime and families and children's issues are always big on the agenda for the National League of Cities. They have been for the last several years. They put out a State of City Leadership for children and families. And certainly providing innovative programs for young people is part of what we have to do as a country to solve some of the crime issues.
Who pays for those trips?
The trip to the National League, to the one I went to this last weekend, the National League paid for everything but my plane ticket.
Right.
Which was pretty cheap. I could have walked, I could have driven the Prius.
And how about that was to Washington, D.C. How about to San Antonio?
San Antonio, the city paid for that. The state league, the North Carolina League of Municipalities, where I have also been active on their board, they provide some subsidy for trips that are National League of Cities board meetings and the trips when I was an officer for the Transportation Committee.
And what will your role be as a board member?
Well,
will you focus on a particular issue, or?
Well, transportation is still the one that they will probably expect me to have a lot to say on. I've asked to be on the Finance Committee because I think it's important that the league itself run a tight ship, because cities are having to run very tight ships. And I think the payback for the money that the city has spent to get me to San Antonio where I could be elected, and will spend along with the state for my attendance at national meetings, is that we get to hear what other cities are doing about these issues. And we get contacts with people that can help not only cities across the country, but our city. And I'll give you the best example. HUD, Housing and Urban Development, is the biggest federal impact for cities across the country. We get community development block grant funds, we get other funds. HUD has presented these funds with a "I'm going to get you if you don't spend it this way" type of attitude. And we heard from a fellow named Ron Sims, who is the second to the top to Mr. Donovan, who runs HUD now. And he talked about the change in the way HUD's going to do things.
I want to cut through this because our time is limited and I have so many more questions. Bottom line on HUD is...
But the bottom line is I got a personal contact with this gentleman to deal with some issues that we have right here, but that also affect cities across the country.
Let's get back to some local issues. What's the latest on finding a hotel developer for the convention center?
The RFP is out, and that's due, I believe, the middle of February. I think we wanted them to have plenty of time to.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I want to see a hotel that is a first-class hotel that people consider luxurious when they walk in the lobby. That will be a good reason for people to also use our convention center.
You think you're going to get that?
I think we need to hold out for that. Now that we have missed the deadline to have a hotel when the convention center opens, we really have to concentrate on getting a good first-class, high-quality luxury hotel.
Do you think
that's
the
part
rest
of
of
the reason to
council
come.
is on the same page?
I hope so. Council has changed a little bit, you know, since the election, but I think everybody is on board with that.
What about the ongoing questions and criticism about the Wilmington Housing Authority and how it's run, which is all overseen by a volunteer board appointed and approved by council? Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
The chair is appointed by the mayor.
Well, all of the board members are appointed by the mayor.
By the mayor.
And that's not true in cities across the country, I've discovered, and that was one of the things that we talked about was housing and urban affairs.
You don't need approval by council.
No.
It's just all appointment board by the mayor.
It's just mayoral appointments, and you know, that puts not only does it create opportunities for political appointments, which aren't necessarily what's happening, but also places a huge amount of responsibility for one person to appoint the whole board. Other cities, council appoints and approves the appointments as a group, which, you know, I'd like to and will suggest that council look at putting appointments to the Housing Authority into our usual appointment process. It's all federal money. It's all federally led.
Your take on the hefty salary increase and a bonus that board gave to their CEO, Michael Krause? Well, the rest of the staff got nothing at a time when the city is in hard times, people are in hard times?
I think that's really a mistake. I think that was a very poor decision on the part of the board. I sit on several boards, and they'll tell you that I've sat there and said, you know, city employees aren't getting raises, other people are not getting raises. As a board, I don't think we should be raising salaries.
Talking about
very bad timing.
Money, would you support a tax increase in the next budget cycle for the city?
I would like not to, but I think we have to be careful that we don't cut our services and cut our quality of life costs to the point that Wilmington folds into itself, is in a ditch when the rest of the country is coming out of this recession.
We have about 30 seconds.
Costs money to come out of the recession.
Yeah.
We need to make sure we're ready for that. And,
you think it's inevitable, a tax increase?
It may be.
Real quick, Titan Cement, do you support that?
Titan Cement. No, I do not support Titan Cement. I just don't think that's something we need to have here.
We're almost out of time. Cape Fear Skyway, you want that to happen?
I do think the Cape Fear Skyway is going to have to happen. We have to have another bridge across the river. That could be a signature piece.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Laura Padgett's been our guest this morning. If you'd like to see us online, go to WILM-TV.com. Click on Byline. I'm Don Ansel. We'll see you next week.
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning at 11 as we explore the issues that concern you.